time things. When we put
Yeah.
a time on, people like to know when they're
Yeah,
showing
yeah,
up.
that's why I was real,
So I looked at the cities, and the city doesn't do time.
yeah, taking the time off is probably the best way to do it, because then it's flowing.
Yeah.
You don't
meeting.
Yeah, I make a motion to reconvene into open session at 9:30
There a second?
to reconvene.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I would, no action?
No action.
You want me to make him, go ahead and do this, Jim?
Yeah.
I move that we recess to executive session under the following sections of Kansas Open Meetings Act. Executive session KSA 75-4319B1 to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel. The subject matter to be discussed during executive session is employee performance.
Yeah.
Open session will resume today at 9:42 in this room. Those persons to attend include Chairman O'Hara, myself, and
This is 15 minutes.
10?
Yeah.
Just-
Well, I asked
Oh,
for
15, sorry,
yeah,
I made a mistake, I need to,
time-wise.
You can just amend your motion to go to 9:46.
I need to amend my motion to go to 9:46, apologize about that. Myself, Mr. Harris, and Mr. O'Hara, that's it, right?
Yes.
Do I hear a second?
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Do you want Josh here?
paying into it, then the cities wouldn't have the option.
Oh.
That's how that works.
GIS or IT?
I move that we come out of executive session at 9:46 and back into open session.
I hear a second? Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Chairman, we need to amend our agenda this morning. I would suggest that you just eliminate all the times that are on the agenda at this point, and then from this point forward, don't have any more times on the agenda. Where it's 9:46 and we actually are supposed to be on the real property relief application. So I would just eliminate all the times.
Make a motion that we suspend all time stamps on the agenda and go with strictly nothing but the what's on the agenda is
Excluding the time.
excluding time.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Oh, then you've got one, sorry, you've got one other thing. There was any action out of executive session?
No
No
action.
action.
So Jim, we've eliminated all the timestamps.
All time stamps.
We're still going with this
Go
agenda, just
chronological
eliminated the
order.
timestamps.
Okay.
Okay, our next is property relief.
So we had a person apply for real property relief, and they had a house fire in March of 2020. And they have to apply to get those taxes reduced in 2020 tax year if they want to have them reduced. It is optional for you guys to reduce those taxes. We've done this several times together
Yes, we have.
before. The value on this house, if you choose to reduce it, the appraised value before was $24,000, a little over $600 in taxes for the year. And the new appraised value for 2020 would be about $4,200. They are not going to rebuild their house in that spot, so, if you choose to, you just need to talk, but I would just approve it and talk. Now, the appraiser will adjust the value for 2021.
Sure.
Because it was standing on January 1st of that year, that's the value for the year, unless you guys reduce the value.
Sure.
I'd say the fire reduced the value, so
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
make I would make a motion that we reduce that we sign the agreement Lynn has there.
I second
Real
that.
property relief application.
Real property
I
relief.
second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All three of us have to sign this. There you go. What's that? I am. It's on here for Sparks update, 11/10. But it might be give or take on some of the
Okay,
time.
okay.
I'll give her a call.
Okay.
Okay, resolutions. The beginning of the year resolutions. Guys, go on real quick. Sorry, Jim. All right. This is a resolution for generally accepted accounting principles. This would be a reimbursement for travel expenses, 57.5 this year per month. Resolution for designate depositories and official publication carriers. Have a list there, we'll read them off here.
Okay.
There we go, this is health officer. I think, PK, is an outfit.
Okay.
And this is participation by public regulations. Yet, we have to read them all.
Okay.
Thorns, if you make sense, if you want to read them, have at it. If you want me to read them, I can.
We'll read them out loud.
Yes.
Resolution 06-21. Bourbon County, Kansas Commission.
Louder, please. We can't hear anything, I'm sorry.
Somebody else read louder than me.
I'm worse than you.
There. Loud and proud.
I mumble a lot, so.
There you go. Okay, this is resolution 06-21, Bourbon County, Kansas Commission, patron participation in public forums. In order to maintain orderly and efficient county commission meetings, it has become necessary to enact the following policy addressing patron participation in commission meetings and forums. 1, personal, rude, or slanderous remarks are prohibited. 2, patrons wishing to speak publicly during a commission meeting must make such request through the Bourbon County Clerk's Office. 3, comments will be limited to 5 minutes per patron per meeting. 4, 15 minutes per subject or associated subject will be allowed. 5, 1 hour of accumulated time will be set aside for public comments. 6, a copy of any material to be shared or used to address the commission will need to be provided to the Bourbon County Clerk the day prior to the scheduled commission meeting. This policy will be require commission approval each subsequent calendar year adopted this day. So I move that we pass resolution 06-21.
Second.
Any discussion?
Then was that 1 hour for public comment? Is that what you- 1
That's
hour?
accumulated 1
Yeah,
hour.
okay.
You know, but it all depends on how many
Right.
people ask. It could be 5 minutes.
Okay.
If you only have one person.
I second that.
Whoever has that. Any discussion?
One question, was there sign-up a requirement in advance or just up there?
Well, it says it's in advance. Advance,
In advance.
is that right? Kendall, you're, Justin, is that correct? It has to be 1 hour day prior?
Well, there's two different discussions, I think, on that that's important. One, I think you should have a public comment section at the end of the agenda. So allow someone to have 3 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever you guys decide to do with that. And then commission comments at the end of your agenda, and then probably county councilor comments at the end of the agenda. If they want to actually be on the agenda, I think they have to sign up in advance.
Yes.
Well, this is
Right. So if they're going to.
This is patrons participating in meetings and forums. This is not public comments.
Right, so if, let's say Nancy's on the agenda today, she called and got on the agenda pre-meeting, I think that's the way that, if you're gonna talk
Oh,
about
that is
specifics.
for this one.
Yeah. But I think in the future, on the agendas, we wanna have county councilor, commissioners, and public forum, having each commissioner allowed 5 minutes or whatever. I wouldn't actually limit the time, it could be as long as you want it, and that's where I think our prior banters would be. When we had those awesome times just to talk things through, that would be where that would be at. And then, public participation would be where they sign up pre-meeting, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever you guys decide to, and then county councilor time just to discuss any issues that might arise during the meeting. And most likely,
So
county-
my understanding, Mr. Hoyt, is that this would be to be put on the agenda, and then after that, we will add a public comment section at
I'm
the
okay
end
with
of the
that,
meeting.
I just, as long as it wasn't all encompassing.
no, we're gonna have 2 separate times.
But,
And my-
but when do I need to call to get on the agenda?
Kendall, I think wants it by Friday before, so if you want to get it Friday, the agendas go out Friday afternoon,
Yes, they do.
Okay,
so.
just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, and there are changes that occur on Monday sometimes, but that's unanticipated because something's come up over the weekend that needs to be addressed.
Well, like I say, 6 years ago, we didn't have an agenda, so, this is a work in progress.
Yep.
Okay.
We're formalizing it.
Yep, okay, here we go. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All opposed? Motion still carries. Okay, we all have to sign it? All these resolutions? Okay, this is resolution 05-21. The Board of County Commissioners, Kansas, named as the Bourbon County Health Officer effective January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021. PK's our physician now. I hadn't talked to him whether he wants to continue that or not. I think we'll go ahead and name him if you don't want to be,
You can-
he can tell us.
Another issue that's come up prior to the Public County Health Board issue is, we've looked at the contract. Come May of this year, you guys will have a decision to make on the Bourbon County Health, Multi-County Health Board, just for the record. So if you're approving this, the contract basically states in May would be when you would give them notice if you still want to keep that contract, for the
Right.
record. Because I know that's come up.
So I think it'll be, I'm gonna recommend it, yourself,
Yeah, as long as they'll do it.
as long as they do it. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Okay, this is resolution 4-21. This is a resolution designed, designates depositories and official publication carriers. The designation of depositories for official funds coming into the hands of the various county officials of Bourbon County in compliance with KSA 9-1401. The following banks of Bourbon County, Kansas are selected as depositories of funds by the county treasurer. City State Bank, UMB Bank, Union State Bank, Liberty Savings and Loan, Landmark National Bank, and Citizens Bank. The county's active account will be carried in Landmark National Bank. The official county newspaper will be Fort Scott Tribune. Passed on this open session this 12th day of January 2021. I hear a second?
I second that.
Any discussion?
So, as far as the banks go, you're saying Landmark is the main bank?
They have all of our account, our main bank for the checking and all that stuff.
How do we decide that, Lynn?
Just what we've had in the past. We haven't changed for a long time. It's just been, and they give us good rates and. All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Aye. I want to change it. If we want to do that, we have to do it next year. Get the preparation for it.
Yep.
So we have 2 for and 1 opposed. Motion carries. Reimbursement of travel expenses. I move that we approve resolution 03-21 Bourbon County, Kansas. Reimbursement for travel expenses. Whereas prior approval shall be obtained from department head for reimbursement of travel expenses. The rate of such reimbursement shall be established by the county commission, and whereas the Kansas allowance is 57.5 cents per mile, therefore be resolved that the allowable mileage paid by Bourbon County will be reimbursed at 57.5 cents per mile. This rate took effective on January 1st, 2020, so it's not increased. Passed in regular session 12th day, January 2021. I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, this is for a resolution concerning waiver of general accepted accounting principles. I move that we approve resolution 02-21, Bourbon County, Kansas, a resolution concerning the waiver of generally accepted accounting principles, whereas Bourbon County Board of County Commissioners has considered the requirements of KSA 75-1120A regarding generally accepted accounting principles, and whereas KSA 75-1120A subsection B allows the governing body to request and receive a waiver of requirements of subsection A, therefore be it resolved, the Bourbon County Board of Commissioners find that the financial statements and financial accounting principles are not relevant to the requirements of cash basis law, budget laws of Kansas, and are of no significant value to the governing body or the members of the general public of the municipality. Further, resolve further that the request of the Director of Taxation of the State of Kansas for waiver be the year ending December 31st, 2020, passed on this open session, 12th day of January 2021. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. I move that we approve Resolution 02-21 Bourbon County, Kansas. Holidays and closed days for Bourbon County employees, including landfill employees. The following days will be reserved as holidays for the year 2021 for Bourbon County. New Year's, Martin Luther King's, President's Day, Good Friday, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving Day, Christmas, and New Year's.
I second.
Hours of operation for the transfer station are 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Saturday. Transfer station is closed on Sundays.
I
Is
second.
there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All resolutions. Along with the resolutions, we have committees.
Oh, we're not done.
Huh?
We're not done.
No, we're not done. We have the mental health, we have the juvenile detention, we have Southeast Kansas Regional Planning Committee, and we have the economic development. I've been on economic development for a number of years. I've been on the Southeast Kansas Regional Planning Committee for a number of years. The juvenile detention meeting is once a quarter. All the rest of them are about once a month, except for the BITCO, and it's whenever they decide they need a meeting, which will start happening probably quarterly. The mental health is once a month. Got a preference?
You're actually the chair of Southeast Kansas Regional Planning Commission now.
What's that?
You're actually the chair of the Southeast Kansas Regional Planning Commission now.
I am.
So do we have to make a motion to continue that? Or?
Yeah, we have to make a motion to continue. Do you want juvenile, or do you want juvenile? It's once a quarter. That's
How
one of the
many-
easier ones.
Yeah. I don't care to have it because I gotta have some eye surgery pretty quick and I can't drive after dark for 3 or 4 months, so.
He's walking in this blind.
I know.
Almost. That's what I said last
Okay.
November, so.
So, I nominate Clifton for the Southeast Kansas Juvenile Detention. Do I hear a second?
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All. Next one is Southeast Kansas Regional Planning Committee.
I nominate Mr. Chairman O'Hare for the Southeast Kansas.
I second that. I second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So you're gonna do mental health? You feel mental?
Yeah.
Okay. Nathan, I move that Jim Harris be given the mental health
Second that.
representative. Do I
I
hear any
second it.
discussion?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Bedco. What do y'all want to do with Bedco?
Doesn't matter
Kind of
to
been
me.
my little deal for the last 6 years.
Do you want to continue?
Yeah, I do. I want to see
Okay.
it through.
I nominate Len O'Hare for the Bedco position.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I think that's all. Kendall? Is that it?
Okay, I move that we recess to executive session under the following exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act. What? Or should we do Laura first because she's here?
I don't mean, we can skip around, I guess.
Can we move or
I
can we
think we
not?
can move it around since we eliminated timestamps. Can we?
Can we, can we, since Laura's waiting, can we go ahead and do hers and then switch her into the next executive session? Or can
We
not
talked
do
about
that?
this yesterday, unfortunately, probably not, unless you
Okay.
want to amend the agenda. I mean, you probably want to stay to the agenda
this,
as the
okay.
best you can. I mean,
Okay,
Sorry.
That's all right.
I move that we recess to executive session under the following exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act. Executive session KSA 75-4319B1 to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel. The subject to be discussed during executive session is employee. Is that leave time on employees? Open session will resume today. It's 15 minutes. 15. Oh, 5, sorry.
What, 10?
Can we do 10? Where we will resume today at 10:16 a.m. in this room. The persons that will attend will be myself, Commissioner Harris, and Chairman O'Hara. Kendall Mason. That's it.
Better a second.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Aye.
Get an A on that one. Get an A on that one. Don't forget to say no action.
Allen County newspaper, one county newspaper, and I read their commission meeting, and their commissioners do not go into executive session as much as Bourbon County. Bourbon County 3 times as much as they do.
Justin says they're gonna fix that, so.
And I looked at that, I'm like, wow. As a citizen, you're thinking, it's supposed to be open, you know?
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah. I love them. I wear them. I wear them half out. Very comfortable.
What have you been up to?
Not much.
How's your green business?
Off and on, they're running here, running there. I got a side-by-side, little four-wheeler, little thingy. And so, they much rather be outside. So, you should have seen them in the snow with that thing. It's funny.
And I guess there was some question about whether or not.
So,
You had a good Christmas then.
yeah, then we had a really good Christmas. My daughter-in-law got me a little heart that looks like puzzle pieces put together. And it has Mimi and Pops. And then it has the dogs. And then it has my son. And then Jordan. And then it has the 3 grandkids as puzzle pieces. And it is so cute. She made me cry. But it was so cute. Yes.
Very, very good.
Yes.
So, where did they get that from? Did they-
She ordered it this summer. Or last summer.
I just didn't know that was.
Yeah.
You've been planning this good for a while.
Yes. Yes. So
Good.
last year she got us the Holdridges established in 1988, because that's when my husband and I got married. And so this year she got us that, so.
Good at gifting.
Yes, she is. Yeah. She's, yeah. Yeah. Well, I only have one son, but when she does something like that, she really does it up.
And to have a daughter-in-law that is so sensitive to you, that's very
Yeah.
sweet, very good. Well, your son picked a good one.
Yeah, and they live right next door, so. Yeah, last night the boys came up. We're their, sugar dealers. You know,
Cookies.
Cookies, gummies. We have to keep M&Ms in the one little bowl that they could get to, and they come in and they go, "We need gummies." We give them gummies and they go, "Okay, bye." And I say, "Kiss,
Uh-huh.
kiss.
That's right.
Gotta give me a kiss for them."
how cool is it that they're loving to play outside and
Yeah,
do that kind of thing? That's so much fun to watch too.
yeah.
So,
There's something
Nothing
special.
like a grandchild on a sugar high that you have to sit well.
Yeah, there you go.
They like their fruit gummies. I get the real fruit gummies, so, the fruit roll-ups. And my one loves bananas. They both love fruit, so I keep bananas. So, call him my monkey.
Even when they go into executive session, it's not like that. Okay, you go back to say, okay, I advertise your position, or whatever, but they don't say that, you know, then they go to, oh, they say it's not elected personnel. And the other side of the
So
coin is
Nancy, we
we
got
actually
both of
say,
your
we
vaccinations
advertise
already.
you, tribute, and online, and you could say that you had 3 or 4 candidates, but you didn't have to name anything, you say,
Well, they
just
they
like.
did that at, Jim's position. I remember them talking about
those buildings there,
you know, how many parents there were, we already down to some.
That I don't know, because my office doesn't keep track of what's on the national register.
Active with all the every day, she's in the team.
Yeah.
with HBs.
I'm not, I mean, I'm still a member, but I'm not,
Why is that? Well, she's
I'm not involved, like,
Oh,
yeah.
Did you see that the National Historic Preservation is, the state, there's those state grants starting $50,000 each right now. It's a new program. I went to the webinar, it's pretty highly competitive. But they're gonna be, it's gonna take $50,000. There's 3 different things that they'll be granting it for those historic places.
I have,
Addressing, you know, renovation or restoration or things like if you have snow blowing in the winter.
Yeah, I tried to, I mean, Rhonda,
sisters in our.
tried one time to get them to the county, to do grants for the steps. And we didn't, wasn't awarded, and then no one ever, I collect for it, but no one's ever tried. I kept, Sharon used to tell them, I used to tell them, you know, whoever writes the grants for the county needs to apply for the HBA for the windows. You do have to match the, you have to match.
So we can't say we're gonna get a buck pass on that.
Yeah,
And then come back in,
yeah,
And,
if there's action taken, then.
that's the thing, because,
We went through and had,
So, yeah, I
we
agree.
went through and
I think she's kind of
for the river trails and stuff like that, pricing lists and stuff for our grant. But it's all
If
just,
they know.
it's gonna cost to have that engineering work done, which you need to have.
She said the
Have
other
a
night
grant,
after.
and so there's just no money for that, and so there's something you need to do, and there are lots of grants available, but you have to spend money first, so you have to get
yeah,
All that stress.
it's hard.
yeah. And I think
Sounded like private in January.
a lot of them didn't want to do that, but,
Yeah.
That's what the governor had said.
you know, to get some of the windows,
Telling you.
back then, that's what I was pushing for was the windows.
For the windows here,
Uh-huh, because that's when
maybe a little more efficient now.
You go in public record.
I think your general.
Peerless was willing to do a tax abatement type thing for the windows, but they weren't able to put it in. So the company that would be putting them in was, you know, like, I can't remember, somebody out of Nevada. And, you know, their cost to put them in, you know, we could get it and do that, but, so, so, how you, have you started with Benco yet? On a regular? I thought that was supposed to be done already.
I've been trying to keep you distance from that process. There's
Okay. Somebody wanna say the verbiage?
I move that the county commission come out of executive session at 10:16, and we're back into regular session. And, I can't say it, Mr. Wood. We will have litigation based on the executive session. You want action, is that the correct thing to say?
Well, then you have to vote.
So do I hear a second?
I second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion for the action from the executive session.
Oh, now, wait a minute, I don't know if that's a problem.
I move,
He's up there.
That's
I move
the
we-
good substance of the motion.
what's going on?
So we're gonna have a little bit of an action from the executive session.
Okay, so the motion has to have substance to it.
Well,
We will.
Okay, just making sure. I mean,
It's not
sorry,
gonna-
I was,
it's not gonna be open-ended.
okay.
I move that we extend the COVID relief benefit or time off for the employees that have not already used the COVID relief time,
I
going
second.
forward until such time as we deem it necessary to end that program.
So is this the family medical leave extension, the under COVID, the
Yes,
special?
it is.
Okay, just making sure to clarify it.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Drop down to a B.
Okay, Laura. Good morning, Laura.
Good morning. I usually do this every end of the year, just kind of,
Bring down the microphone.
I have a big mouth, I can't believe you couldn't hear me. I usually do this every end of the year to let you know kind of how we did. COVID or not, we had the best year than we've had in the last 3 years. In 2018, we were still collecting a little bit of mortgage registration tax. 2020, what went into county general was $121,025.65. That's from just the part that stays in county general. 2019 was $94,979.67. 2018 was, not counting mortgage tax, was only $82,103. We still collected mortgage tax in 2018. That was about $28,000, but that still was only a total of $110,000. So even with the COVID, we moved a lot of houses. And I know during the shutdown, I still worked every day and did a lot of stuff for Security First Title because they were swamped. And so I just wanted to let you guys know that we did quite a bit of work, and 2020 so far from the last 3 years was our best year ever that goes into county general. Now there's some funds that, like the Heritage Trust and the techs and stuff, that don't go into county general. This is just county general. So, you have any questions
Great.
for me?
Sounds good?
I'd like to say thank you.
Yeah, it's a-
Thank you for the good work.
You know, it's really a milestone to really see what's going on with COVID and the amount of transactions that took place during that period.
Well,
Really-
I know with the mortgage rates being down and a lot of people having to refinance, we did over 316 $1,499,000 in mortgage. A lot of people were renewing and getting the better rates and everything, but we still moved a lot of deeds. A lot. There was a lot of buying and selling of farmland and deeds. And they're pretty busy right now with a lot of stuff.
That's great.
So,
That's a very good thing.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a conference with them. Check.
It's got to be 98 degrees in this room.
It's warm in here.
Yes, yes. I thought you might.
Thank you.
Since I read it off pretty fast. Welcome.
All righty, Nancy. On highways? Yep.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name's Nancy Van Etten. I'm the Lake Advisory Board co-chair for Fort Scott Lake Advisory Board. And we are having a meeting on Saturday, 9 o'clock at City Hall. I would like an update on the interlocal agreement for Lake Sewer District Number 1. That's something we've been discussing for over a year and a half, and things that have occurred, and so I needed an update on that. And also secondarily, I did want to ask that you appoint someone to our Lake Advisory Board from the County Commission. Jeff Fisher was the representative from the County Commission since the inception of the board, and we need someone. And we're hoping maybe Jim Harris would be appointed since he's of that same district. So, sure like an
Jesse,
update?
You want to address the interlocal?
It's actually, where the terminology is important, it's actually a contract. It's a service contract that was established when the district was established. I talked to Nancy yesterday, and I also talked to Susan a couple times about this. We're back and forth. We're dealing with some things with St. Martin's Academy. We received an email from their director to kind of go through some of the rates that were set by the prior business director for the city of Fort Scott. We're hoping, and I promised Nancy yesterday that we're hoping to have this finalized probably by the end of February, before the building season starts, so that we can have the connection fees, the different costs associated with hooking back into the system. The last time we talked about this, we found out we have plenty of capacity for additional units on the lake. Obviously, Arrowhead Road is another issue, or Indian Road, I'm sorry, is another issue, but the lake itself has capacity to add additional homes, single family, 3-bathroom, 3-people homes. So we've got that figured out. Now we're working on St. Martin's, and once we get that done, we'll be able to get the agreement, with the help of Susan, done hopefully by February.
So once we get this contract finished, then I think we could probably address who we're going to put on that advisory board. Or you think we should do that now?
I think it's fine with Jim. If Jim wants to do that now, you have every ability
Jim,
to
would
do
you
that.
like to be on that
Yeah.
advisory board?
I would make a
I think
motion.
just to formalize the process, you probably want to amend your agenda first
Oh.
to allow for Mr. Harris to be added to that.
Let's just put it on next year, we should do this.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So we need to add that to next week's agenda.
Okay.
Can you go ahead and attend on Saturday?
We'd have to amend the agenda to allow for Mr. Harris to attend the meeting this coming Saturday. And not as official
He can attend as a
private citizen all day
private
long.
citizen. Or was that okay, Ms. Van Etten, or would you?
Yeah, he has every right to attend as a private citizen. Unfortunately, you can't have two commissioners there attending the same meeting, but Mr. Harris can go can't give you any input as a commissioner, but he can definitely attend.
I'll watch it.
It's 9 a.m. at City Hall,
City Hall, 9 a.m.
Saturday
Is
morning.
that
Yeah.
okay, Jim?
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
We good? Dave?
Hey, Burner.
Okay, good morning.
Morning.
There's a couple, I'm not on. Can you hear me now? Oh, is it? Okay, I'm sorry. Just a couple of items, I think, in front of you. One is a medical director's contract for Bourbon County EMS, and the other one is a medical EMS service contract renewal. And I just need to have those approved to sign. The medical director contract is for Dr. Burke. She's been our medical director in the past. This is just a renewal. There's a Kansas statute 65-6126 that requires EMS services to have a medical director for their service.
So the city pays her?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there any changes in this, Justin, that we need?
No.
Change, no, there isn't. There's something to talk about too with.
In the service
In the
contract.
service contract too, section 14 of that contract, this is the director contract, I'm talking about the service contract now. Section 14, basically, we last year made a decision to have this go year to year, a lot like the judicial center, JB Judicial Center down in Girard, and also kind of like our Malta County Health Board. This contract will stay in place in perpetuity unless you give 120 days notice to the city, or the vice versa, the city can give the county 120 days notice to terminate that agreement. So the reason we're gonna come probably every year for the medical director, emergency medical services, is because potentially that doctor could change, the rate could go up, things like that. So we'll need approval, we'll need approval on the medical director, emergency medical services. And we gotta change some dates, basically, on the service agreement, but outside of that, we're in good shape. And it's the same one from last year.
I noticed.
So,
But the service agreement with EMS is basically year to year from last year forward. And I know it's very fluid, and that's kind of why we had that 120 days in there. I mean, lots of things could happen, one day to the next, but as long as we give 120 days notice or vice versa, we could change the way the EMS is funded.
Sure.
And the medical director for that case.
So we need two different motions.
I would make a motion to accept the emergency medical services joint agreement as written.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So you're just gonna give me a updated back page to sign?
Yeah, if you could allow the chairman to sign the medical director for emergency medical services.
I would move that we allow Chairman O'Hara to sign for the emergency medical services joint agreement.
I second that.
And we'll get the correct dates in there from the doctor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion
I
carries.
would make a motion that the memorandum of understanding for medical director for EMS or emergency medical services be accepted as written. And that Chairman, can I do that at the same time? And Chairman O'Hara be able to sign that memorandum of understanding for medical director for emergency medical services.
Here a second?
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Robert Leisure, EMS Director for Bourbon County. Since I got 20 minutes, I'd like to go ahead and give you maybe a little bit of update of what we've been up to lately. I will like to make a note on the Dr. Burke compensation. That is a very good deal for the county. When I first started this process 20 months ago, I shopped around for directors, and I think that is a very fair deal for the county. I think the last time I came in and met with you guys was in October. That's when we signed the purchase agreement for the new ambulance. It is my understanding that they have taken possession of the cabin chassis in Florida. The schematics that I sent them, the way I wanted the truck built, the blueprints basically is under engineer review right now, and I should receive that back by the end of January for my final approval or Dave's final approval that everything's good to go. They're expected to start fabrication, I believe, late March into April, and actual delivery of the unit is not going to be until probably June. So it'll be manufactured in Winter Park, Florida, and then shipped over to their facility in Missouri for a final inspection. I know when I spoke with you in October, I was talking about that we did 241 calls that month, and that was the most that I'd ever seen as far as Bourbon County. Well, we topped it the next month. We went up again to 244 in October. And then I'll go ahead and give you the totals since the year just finished. I'll give you all of 2020 totals so you get an idea of how busy we were through all of 2020. We had 2,321 calls for all of 2020. We transported 1,702 people. We dry ran 619, and we did 711 transfers. On a typical non-COVID year, I expect us to probably get 2,400 to 2,500 calls. So it was a down year, and I contribute that to COVID, okay? So we give an update. We still have a few months to decide what we're gonna do with the fleet. I know I brought that up at the last meeting. If you're gonna go to a 7-truck fleet by adding the new truck, or if we're gonna decommission one and stay at 6. So we can just move that to a future agenda if you want and discuss that later too, so unless there's any questions, that's all I've got.
I know one of the meeting we had with Via Christi was that we were going to up our transports or services for Via Christi to eliminate some of the time waiting for transfers. How's that?
We've kind of changed how we do business. Before, I tried to keep one crew around as much as possible for the 911. Now if they have stacked transfers or like 2 ready to go at the same time, I'll send both crews at the same time so their wait isn't as long. It just puts a little more burden on the fire department ambulance.
Okay.
But we're trying to move their patients as quick as we can.
And it's working okay as of now?
Yes.
Dave, has the overtime gone up for the EMS at fire?
Not really. We had some turnover anyway from fire, so I from the EMS, not really.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
No, I'm good.
Thank you.
And I would say, based off of, because I do know what doctors are paid for those extra services, that is a fair deal. We
Good.
do the same thing at where I work, so.
No, not enough. No, the budget is actually, I should say,
You want this one?
I think,
You're gonna update the,
yeah, Dave didn't have that.
all right.
Just for clarification on the memorandum of understanding of the joint services on the EMS service, the budget is actually the same as it was last year. I think that was important to note. It hasn't gone up, which is a good thing. One of the things we're probably going to have to look at for fiscal year 2022 is a possible increase in funding that department. There has been a carryover for 2021 that is substantial enough to buy additional equipment if need be. You know, we're going through miles at a pretty quick rate with those transports. And if we get back to normal, those transports are probably going to increase. So just letting you know that the budget itself is the same that it was when we first started, hasn't increased.
Good.
Very good. All right. So, how about we recess into executive session of the following? The KSA 75-4319B to discuss data relating financial affairs, trade secrets of corporations, partnership, trust, and individual proprietorships. And it's gonna be for 15 minutes. We'll adjourn from this location and go to our meeting room and be back in this room by, let's say it's gonna be 51? 10:51.
And who do you want in that executive session,
I
Chairman?
think probably 3 commissioners, probably all we need so we can
Okay.
be updated on
Sure.
where we're gonna be.
Okay, and then what was the, is it,
Parish,
and what's the justification? Just
contract negotiations.
or contract issues or things that have happened?
Yes.
Okay.
So here's,
Did you mention
Second.
your number?
What's that?
Is it B? Did you say B4?
I said B,
Okay, I gotta say
and
B4.
then 4 for contracts.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Get a lot of exercise.
Good. There is so much to health equity and the built environment, and I have 5 to 7 minutes, and so I'm struggling on narrowing it down to what I really want to talk about, because, you know, research is clear that neighborhoods, safe neighborhoods and healthy neighborhoods and quality education are critical components to having or growing, thriving adults, right? And so, you know, the neighborhoods in which we're able to safely play and grow impacts your health, your IQ, your, you see those studies on your zip code determining your mortality.
That's a shame.
Yeah, but it's definitely affected by that. Yeah, and so that impacts, you know, our quality of life. It impacts our ability to build wealth, to work. It impacts, you know, those key economic development measures that we look at. And so it's really important to address these health inequities that are part of the built environment and the policy that we pass, making sure that it is looked at with a lens of health equity so that it isn't inadvertently hindering one population over the other. So historically, you know, nationwide, resources or power and those types of things are typically funneled to, you know, one sector and not another demographic. In our community, there's a perception that there's a clear line between east side, west side. And, you know, the more you look into some of the infrastructure issues, that there might be some to that on, you know, on how resources are funneled, you know, from, and I don't think that anything was ever, you know, intentional or anything like that. I think that's just how it's always been done, you know. And so looking at current policy, looking at the policy that we implement moving forward and having a health and all policies approach will be imperative, will be critical for us anyway, that's where I'm getting at with.
Well, I know you don't need any more content, but there is a documentary on Netflix called Dollars for Dennis.
Dollars for dinner.
Just watch that sometime whenever you're bored.
I went, last Friday, I went around and taped interviews of several community members who have been impacted by built environment infrastructure issues, specifically the sewer problems. And you can see that as you get closer into the east side, the inequities that are there. There's a disparity, right? And it's, you know, like I said, it's not just our community, but this tapes interviews will be really is a compelling argument for the sense of urgency and could really help with grant funding. It clearly articulates the disparity in the lower income and demographic. It clearly shows the health and safety concerns of that population. It clearly shows the critical nature of the issue that we're dealing with now. So it would be very, very good once I get the video all put together to use for grant funding, because that type of storytelling from residents in real time is compelling.
Where's your speech? What is the speech going to be?
Oh, I got, for the Governor's Council on Fitness, they're doing their awards banquet. It's a statewide thing, and so I got asked to do the opening remarks and speech for the community champions for the statewide.
National thing.
Yeah, Dr. Norman got asked to do it, he couldn't, so they picked me. So I was like, thank you. Yeah, but I've been working on it for, because like I said, there's just so much to it. I don't know how to.
We'll pray for you to have the right words to say. So we'll pray for this.
So I'm putting together slides, and I'm hoping that the slides will at least.
I know, we sure feel like being here in the rural area, that's significantly impacted, right?
Living in the rural communities is in fact a disparity.
Very much so. For me, being,
It is in fact.
having lived in Pueblo, if you're actually in the county in Pueblo, that's still the difference in healthcare is just been.
It's not just healthcare. It's, in fact, only like 10% of your health is determined by in your doctor's office. So it's about transportation issues, access to food, access to the doctor's office, access to quality early childhood education, access to quality safe housing and safe neighborhoods. And so those are the things, those are the social determinants of health that we look at in creating safe, equitable communities so that every adult or every child has the same opportunity. So making health the healthy choice, the default choice, which is what we've always been working on these systems with the complete streets with Uniontown and the city of Fort Scott that we worked on making these sidewalks and these systems, these trails and systems, so that regardless of your ability, regardless if you're a mom pushing a stroller, whether you're riding a bike, whether you're in a wheelchair, whether you're completely able and a runner or whatever, you're able to walk from your house to school, your house to the food, from your house to your job. Making sure those systems are in place so that regardless of your ability, regardless of your socioeconomic status, regardless how much money you make, you can get to your job, to healthcare, to food, those types of things. So that's what we've been working on for the last 4 or 5 years anyway. And so we have been working on social, our health equity and health justice. And so wrapping that into what we've done, into what we're going to do moving forward. I mean, we've got grant funds available for land bank because healthy housing is imperative to, healthy communities. So.
Well, one change that made you kind of out of your I had a Medicare Advantage plan from Arizona, and I still do, that includes dental and prescription drugs and all that. The same plan was until last year not available I couldn't even they have a passport program where if you're traveling or going to be somewhere, you can actually move your plan to the county that you're in. Bourbon County was excluded. So I was here and had.
From Medicare? From that particular plan?
From the United Healthcare Advantage plan.
Yeah, that's a whole nother world, because my folks have they have Aetna, but Aetna doesn't operate everywhere all the time.
Right.
I mean, and
It's a serious situation.
It really is.
Well, now Bourbon County, I don't know that they've excluded any counties in Kansas now, this year,
Okay.
just this year. Also, what they've also provided for seniors that choose to take this Advantage plan is $1,000 a year in dental. And Medicare still does not do dentures. But if they already have dentures, they still have an oral health issue that was not being paid for before. So, gum disease under the dentures or whatever.
Which is critical to your health.
Critical. And so they have $1,000, and then they have a $38 a month rider program, which will give you another $1,500 for restorative extractions, fillings, things of that nature. Yeah, it's $38 more, but if you need that, if you sign up for it this month, you could spend $1,500. And there are a lot of people with poor dental health. And
Yeah, there's a
with not
donut hole.
having Medicaid expansion, the young children don't get, it's not the wide array of young children who are getting good dental care.
And it's hard to find, because Medicaid will cover dental for kiddos, but it's hard to find a
Medicare.
provider
Yes.
who will accept Medicaid.
So watch that dollars for dentists, because it gives you both sides of the, they talk about this corporate entity that started taking only Medicaid, and they were just like puppy mill. They were just turning these kids, giving them crowns when they didn't need crowns, because that's what provided the most reimbursement and things like that. But I think it is good for the senior people to have at least some coverage now for dental. They don't pay for dentures, Medicare's supposed to be real clear on that.
The things that Medicare does and doesn't pay for is just, the things that they consider a luxury item, like with durable medical equipment on, a transfer bench to go into the shower, like had a stroke. They'll give you a bench for the shower, but they won't give you a transfer bench because it's a luxury item.
Well, those things are changing a little bit, and with this United Healthcare, they give you a card that you can buy over-the-counter supplements, vitamins, pain relievers, things like that. So it's moving in the right direction. This is the first year. And my mother, at the age, she was having to pay $300 a month for her tie-in to Medicare. And moving her over to this Advantage plan, yeah, her out-of-pocket drug expenses go up, but not by $300 a month. So I've mandated that she put that $300 a month into a savings account that she covers her max out-of-pocket with, so she has to go to the hospital.
Yes.
So, that'll add up quick.
A lot of people get a supplement to their Medicare to cover that 20%, because Medicare covers 80, and then and a lot of people get a supplement to cover that 20%. It depends on whether you can afford a supplement or.
But it was getting to the point of her age, she couldn't afford it. $300 a month is a lot of money. And, with this.
I just want to let you know, I just got a text message, the people people on YouTube can hear everything you're talking about. So
That's okay, I wanted to hear
I
it.
know, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know, I'm just giving you a heads up.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I usually get those myself,
Yeah,
somebody
I
will
know,
say,
I'm sorry.
man, you're on
We're
TV.
about out of time. I'm not saying anything I don't want them to hear.
I move from, that the county commission come out of executive session at 10:51 a.m. No action. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Let's
Motion
vote.
Aye.
Aye. That'd be a B on that one. That's what I was curious about. That's what I assumed we did. You're killing me, Mr. Horn.
What's that?
I said, you're like that bad teacher I had.
Okay, very
Do I need to carry a ruler?
Very good.
Where it happened?
So I made a motion, move to come out of executive session, move back into normal session with no action. Lynn, I got a second from
Any discussion?
Mr. Harris.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion
Aye.
carries. Okay. For, here, I left mine.
You go, Chairman. There's another one.
I left it in the other room. Go figure. Okay, so we've been working for the last few weeks, 2 months on some idea of a budget director for the county. So I kind of wanted to discuss that. We do have an engaged or a contract that Justin had put together, and I'll let Justin kind of go over some of the finer points if he wants to.
It was a joint effort between the city of Fort Scott and myself and Susan, the contract was. Points of interest is that basically it's almost like the EMS, we're paying the city to have that service. It's a $60,000 base. That includes benefits, anything that she's done with the city gets paid through so basically it's a reimbursement of those costs that are with the city of Fort Scott.
And this is not an interlocal agreement. This is a contract for services, and it's a part-time position. And some of the recent things that has spurred the conversation to where it is we've had incidents where we've had to hire an outside firm or an outside person to come in and do an audit of some of our accounts. And it was determined at that time and one of his recommendations that we needed something like this to increase our transparency and efficiencies and our interlocal workings between departments and a lot of the budget issues that were discussed that would be beneficial to have someone work through those with the directors, department heads for budgeting issues and also some of the issues that we have to pay an outside firm for their services on these budget issues, and we could probably save right off the bat, first blush is $20,000 on that venture, and we're looking that if we do this, it will save a lot more time and money by streamlining a lot of processes.
I think one of the other things that is important that we've talked about for a lot of time is helping with our HR issues to make them more an easier process. Someone to report to, making sure that we're following the law with those issues too, to give support where needed. Have a centralized person to contact if need be.
I I would say that I think the county is no longer just taking care of gravel roads.
No.
In this, the status quo isn't working. We're a very large organization that's somewhat disjointed. And I would see this person as somebody that could come in and kind of solve some of those issues, not being HR and what Glenn has ever said. And it just go back to that we're not dealing with just roads anymore. I think I said in that one meeting before that if we want to do the status quo and stay the same, we can, but I'm tired of my taxes going up. And sometimes you got to spend a little money to make money. No, I mean, I guess we can't make money, but I would see that as lowering my taxes, I hope. And in my opinion, this is one way we can do that. The disjointed part of a multi-million-dollar organization, it doesn't work, and I think, and Ms. Adair's, who's in the audience, could correct me, but so we got to move, and what I said a month or two ago, we have to move forward. And if we stay the same, we're moving backwards. And I expect to live here my entire life. I'd love for my kids to be able to come back here, and I'm tired of it. We got to move forward and put this organization into the 21st century.
I agree.
I agree with what Clifton has said. With being my first meeting, of course, I'm concerned that I don't have a lot of information except what you've given me this morning. I got the impression also this morning we haven't involved any of the other elected officials during this dialogue. I don't see a job description. I need more information myself, what this person, I support it, and I know what's coming, we do need it. But as a commissioner and other elected official needs to be brought into this conversation and make sure we're all on the same page, what duties this person is going to have as well as where they're coming from. Does this mean a reduction in force within this building? What does it mean to the other departments? I need to know that myself as a commissioner before I can vote on this. You gentlemen can vote on this if you like today, and I'll just abstain. I need more information.
It's fine.
I would agree, Jim, that you're coming in late. You're coming in the final seconds of the fourth quarter.
I'm coming in.
You haven't been in the game at all.
No.
Right, and you know, we're looking at when we first started this process, just on this, that we were talking about a large sum of money that had not been moved to the right places.
We have to do
and that would be the first portion of this, is getting that cleaned up and then expand once we get that person in place.
Yeah. And I agree, but again, visiting with other elected officials this morning, I don't think we've been very transparent on this. So we need information. I do. They need information. We got to collectively, everyone get together. And maybe you've already done that, whatever, but I'm not ready myself. But I do support it.
I think it's anyway.
Go ahead.
No, just a cooperation with the city that, in my opinion, this commission needs to do and hasn't done in the past very well, for not the commission's fault. But anyway.
Well, I think it's great. Working with the city on this. So.
Again, I'm tired of the status quo.
I am too.
It's time we move forward.
I agree.
That my opinion. And Jim, I'm not.
Oh, no.
I understand. You're getting thrown in right at the end.
So
You are.
I'm the quarterback on the last. I'm the quarterback on the last play of the game.
Not fair for you. So.
No.
It's a one-year contract. And I say, if you've been through what we have been through for the last 4 months, you would understand really where we're coming from.
I'm sure I would.
But completely understandable.
Which
So
pleasure.
I'd make a motion. Do I need to make a motion for this?
Yes.
I'd make a motion that we accept the engagement letter as written here.
Here, a second. I'll second it. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstain.
Motion carries. Very good. Justin, you're up. Oh, no, Sparks update.
Yep.
We don't have
Sparks
our,
update.
we don't have our Turtle anymore, so I'm gonna add Monica on. Monica Greenbush has been our contact for all Sparks related stuff.
Yeah.
Greenbush is one that really has done all the Sparks. And Jody. Get down here to Monica's number. Hey, Monica Lynn. How are you? Hey, I'm gonna put you kind of on a speakerphone. I'm gonna put you in front of the microphone and let you kind of give us an update on anything Sparks related. I'll try to get to where everybody can hear this off the speaker. Hang on. There we go.
Good morning, testing for sound.
Well, we can almost hear you.
Okay, good morning, testing for sound.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning, testing for sound.
Okay.
That better?
That's okay.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I wanted to come to you today and just give you a quick update and say, phew, we're done. And let you know that all is good in the land of Spark Phase 1 for counties. So as of last week on January the 6th, we received word from the Office of Recovery under the Governor's Office that Bourbon County had submitted our last report that was necessary to zero out your total grant award that you received as a county. We also received word that the very specific nature of that report, which just as a quick reminder includes everything from check numbers to vendor tax ID numbers and individual dollar amounts and a specific nexus to COVID-19, that it was all correct and in the right place. We did have to do a couple adjustments, but then Bonnie from our staff got that sent in, and we got a email back confirming it all matches. So that's good news. We have met all of those requirements. You guys did a good job in getting it all out the door in a timely fashion. As you may know, at the last moment, there was a bit of a reprieve and dollars that had not been spent and accounted for by December 30th. We were given an extension. You did not need to take advantage of that extension because it was done. It was done and it was over. So that is good news. Greenbush has completed all of the tasks that were on our memorandum of understanding with the exception of one thing. And that is we have one staff member who's currently in the process of physically downloading each document that we touched on your behalf and organizing it in a fashion that will be accessible to you if ever, and we hope you never, are audited on this process. We have pulled down everything from how the process worked, initial sample applications, your priorities, all the way down to by group or business that you gave money to, the documentation for each one. So just envision a folder that says St. Mary's School, and inside that folder it'll have their application, their memorandum of understanding, their monthly reporting for every expenditure, and a receipt for every expenditure. And you will have that for every group that you touched. In addition, you will have in a folder every report that you sent to the state and the documentation that backs that up. And finally, you will have the explanation of how you ensured that you were reaching out to people, and the fact that we did an online application and that you had a small business nonprofit program really served us well. It really, really did. As we listened to other counties as, you know, November and December rolled around and they were saying, hey, maybe we should like do a small business program at the time when you already had the dollars out to your small businesses. So kudos to all of you. At this time, it is unknown if there will be any additional dollars, as far as I know, any additional dollars that will come back through this county process. We did receive word, I believe yesterday, from the Office of Recovery that there will be some more webinars coming up. My hope is that those webinars will say, you know, as this next round of money comes into the state, this is how we plan to use it. We're hearing a little bit of that, but nothing specific to counties at this point. So I would highly encourage all of you to, you know, whatever means you have that you receive information from the state and or Kansas Association of Counties, just to keep your eye out and your ears open. And I know Jody does that for you guys already. And, you know, for example, right now we know that there's a second round of payroll protection, and I know she's probably already communicating with your businesses, but as far as flowing through the county, we haven't heard anything just right yet. So I also want to tell you that, you know, as far as projects go, you guys had, you know, in comparison to like counties, I think you should be really proud of the bigger things that you funded, and make sure that you're drawing attention to those, that those were county spark funds, and take advantage of letting folks know that you did indeed support individual county groups, for example, the Uniontown Clinic, what you've done with Baja Management, and you did some really nice things out of Fort Scott Community College. You know, I would encourage you to just pat yourselves on the back about those things. So I will leave you with that and leave you with the most sincere thanks of our team of people at Greenbush. We have people who have never really been to Bourbon County except to drive through it from Kansas City to the Greenbush campus, and I think they're about ready to move because they liked you guys so much. So it has been a real treat for all of us to work with you. Cannot stress how much we appreciate Ashley in the clerk's office. There is no way the accuracy of this could have been accomplished without Ashley and her providing information to us that we then turned around and put in a report. She was just exceptional. And of course, Jody, incredibly responsive and incredibly in tune with what was going on there at your place. So thanks to all of you. If there's any way we can help you again in the future, we are here and ready to do that. Just a quick commercial, we partially because of lessons learned during the Spark process for both Crawford and Bourbon, we at the end of December actually rolled out a new division at Greenbush called the Center of Community Support. And it is a big umbrella at Greenbush now where we are organizing multiple projects, but we are expanding into who we work with. You know, we've been known forever for working with schools and, you know, a little bit with, you know, other groups, but state agencies are a big client of ours. And now we're like, wow, we can do this kind of work. And so we're expanding out into municipalities, faith-based organizations, community-type organizations, as well as institutions of higher learning. So thanks for letting us practice on you. We hope that the service was one that worked well for you. And with that, I will see if you have any questions for me.
Well, I can tell you that when this process started, we had discussions on how and who we would use to help us through this process. And I will tell you my personal feelings is if we definitely made the right choice by going with Greenbush. You all have been just very, very easy to work with and very professional, and have really helped us through this process and eliminated all the roadblocks and working with the businesses and answering questions to these businesses and us as the team. So I really appreciate it, and I'm thanking you for your outstanding professional services. Anyone else got? Go ahead.
Sure thing. Well, we appreciate you guys, and if anybody needs anything from us in between, you know where we are. And by the end of January 30th is our date, that we will ship the blessed flash drive to you that will have everything on it. And I highly encourage you to make a copy of it, lock one up, whatever it is you do there, and label it, Spark. Hopefully you'll never have to open it up.
Well, that's a good thought.
Okay.
All right, thanks,
all right.
Monica.
Well, thanks to all of you. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You got anything to add, Jody, to that?
No, I don't have anything to add. Greenbush was just absolutely wonderful to work with. It was a great relief when we got that email from the state saying that they received all of the reports and we met all the minimum requirements. The only question I would have for the commission is, once we get that flash drive, which entity is going to be, have the responsibility to hold that documentation and the information, so we know who that point person is.
That point person will probably be our new business director.
Okay. I would ask the commission to consider that. It's my understanding that the new business director is going to have a 1-year contract, and we'll need to make sure that that flash drive and that information is kept for several years, I think up to 8. So you might consider giving that responsibility to an elected person or an elected department, so that you can ensure that it'll be there for future years to come.
Oh, we'll put it in a lockbox somewhere, because it's a valuable flash drive. And there'll be more than one copy made. Mr. Meeks.
Can I
Can I make a comment on, I think Ms. Hayner is correct. I think the Kendall's office should probably have that in her possession. It's a
We will. I think we'll have
contractual
more
issue. I
than
mean,
one.
anybody could have access to it it's discoverable under Cora, right? I mean, it's.
Yeah, all
Right,
of
it
the
will be.
information's been public anyway.
Yeah, so
Right,
it's
it's
public
Cora
information.
Discovery.
So I just have Kendall's office.
That's
I
fine.
concur with her
We'll have
recommendation.
to buy a lockbox for it.
Yeah, I would say that would be important on that, Kendall. Or, do you have a
Okay.
lockbox or a fire safe? Okay.
Before we go into 2 executive sessions, it doesn't look like we have much after that. I'd make a motion to amend to add an item to the agenda. I need about 2 minutes
Fine.
to
Wait.
discuss a work session with the city, basically.
Okay, yeah, very good. I was gonna do that at the end, but that's fine. We can do it now.
Well, if people are here, they might want to hear.
Okay, that's fine.
That's why.
Yeah, and if you want to include a commission comment at this time, you could amend the agenda to have each commissioner have the ability to discuss any matters
So
that might be
this will be,
important.
have to have a motion on this one,
Right.
so.
But I'm just saying
So-
what I'm saying is you could actually make a motion to allow each commissioner to have some discussion if need be,
Okay,
because it could be an open.
I think I'm talked out.
Yeah, me too. So I make a motion to if I could get
Amend the
an
agenda.
agenda changed for a few minutes to discuss a work session possibly with the city, right quick.
I hear a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Is Josh still here? Okay.
He left. He talked to me.
Okay,
So,
so the city has requested a work session deal Thursday night at 5 PM. I believe location is City Hall. You guys all can't hear me, probably. So I would make a motion that we would allow myself, Commissioner Harris, and Chairman O'Hare to attend that 5 o'clock work session. It's just to sit down and visit with the city commissioners and whoever else is there.
I hear a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And obviously, that'll be an open meeting.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
well.
It'll
a
be published
open
and, yep, just making sure.
be televised.
No business will be conducted, correct?
No, it's just
No,
a,
it's
just
just-
sit down and visit, work session deal.
Thought throwing out ideas,
Yep. They were
Good
requested
idea.
by the city.
kind of moving it forward to where we're actually looking at more interaction with our municipalities.
Which is, I think, a good thing, but that's just my opinion. Commissioners, I asked to go into executive session under KSA 75-4319B3 to discuss employer-employee negotiations, whether or not in consultation with the representatives of public body or agency. It's concerning county councilor. I asked that we return to this room at 11:36. And I asked that, I can name you by name, but I'm asking for the three commissioners and myself.
I second that. Or do I need
So,
to make the motion?
I'll make that motion, yeah, do
Okay.
that.
I would make the motion as spoken by Councilor Meeks.
There, a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can you come back, sorry? I missed-
11:36, sorry.
It's okay.
Hopefully in another 6 months we can get rid of these.
Please.
I heard you say that.
Oh, did you do it?
So I figured that's what.
Well, the other problem I'm hearing is,
It's a hallway, yeah. You have to keep, have to keep it open.
Yeah, just call Joplin and ask them how that worked for them.
What happened?
Oh, their door closed and locked once. They couldn't get it open during a meeting. So they got,
There isn't a reason, no foreseeable reason they couldn't have some speakers out there.
yeah, we need
That
some
would,
speakers.
that would be too much forethought.
Yeah.
yes, that's the thing, so.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
I gave up eventually. I'll talk to Shane about getting some monitor speakers. At least.
It would be helpful, I mean, if these guys aren't gonna be anymore.
Shane, are you listening? We need some monitor speakers up here.
If these guys aren't gonna be aware enough to know that they need to speak forward into the microphone.
If you don't project.
Well, Clifton's soft spoken.
He is.
Yes.
And the other two are kind of, yeah. So anyway,
They would.
it's better, you know, it's better than what we used to have. It's so,
They would never make an instructor or teacher. You know, the voice.
But you know what,
You have to project.
sometimes what's difficult to hear though, when I go back and watch the video, I can hear them pretty well.
Right,
Actually,
because that's what those microphones are.
That's what they pick up. But for the person attending the meeting in person, there's, with today's technology and cost of speakers, there's no excuse. Anyway.
You don't get all that background noise.
I mean, they could put them right in the ceiling panels.
It's not a big deal.
okay, I changed subject, I missed something. Now I forgot what it was I missed. Oh, this thing, this business director thing, that passed with no discussion?
Oh, they talked about it.
They talk
Well,
about
Briefly.
yeah, Jim said he abstained because he wanted to have.
A longer discussion,
Input from, elected officials.
a little more discussion.
I have a problem with it because there's no conflicts identified. At least put in there if, and they can't think of any now, but who's to say that a conflict doesn't come up?
Oh.
There should be an instruction in this contract about how
Where
to react as a conflict.
Where she gets to
She
plan.
has to side with excusing
Yeah.
herself or.
Right, right. Well,
And I can't.
As an
come up with
employee
a
of both the city and the county?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I can't dream one up right off.
Right.
I might be able to in a week or so.
You're right. Well, this gets out, when this goes public, the numbers
Yeah. Well, it's public now, they signed it, they approved it,
Are
so
gonna
it's
get-
a core document.
I mean, that's the first thing people are gonna look at.
I have a strong feeling this will be in tomorrow's paper.
Okay.
I just have a thought.
Oh, yeah, okay, that might
It
happen.
It might be.
Probably on Facebook already.
It might be. Well, they don't know the numbers are, what those numbers are, so
No, they don't yet.
I'm not so sure I wanna be the one breaking it to them, so.
Salary doesn't make sense. I'm trying to make sense of, so
Well,
it's
yeah,
like a,
there's not even,
so it's like, so it's like a combined,
It's a combined salary
for her
fee to the
responsibilities,
county.
for responsibilities to do both, or just in this one.
But if you read down, the county is paying to the city about half. You could read down in there.
What's that?
The salary goes up,
yes, yeah.
but the county is reimbursing the city $60,000.
Right.
So they're paying for more than, a little more, about half, a little more than half.
Is she the highest paid governmental official in our county, in this
Where
county?
did you see that, Michael?
It's in,
What part?
under,
Well, on page 3,
I
number
think it's
4.
on page 3.
Number 4, it says compensation.
Okay.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
yeah. This has nothing to do with her abilities. I think she's
And
very.
the city's paying rest
Well, right, and I guess.
for her job.
The city would be paying all of her benefits and,
Oh.
keepers and all that,
So maybe it,
yeah.
Wow.
uh-huh. So look at it, she's the highest paid governmental official in our county?
No,
Oh, no? Okay.
no, when you consider the judges,
Oh, yeah. Didn't consider it.
highest paid person within the city at this time, at this point.
And there again, I've watched her, you know, just in the last several months at city commission meetings and what she brings to the table and her, working knowledge is,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's pretty impressive.
It really is.
No, the only problem I have with the document is really not a job description, a delineation of what the responsibilities, it's just a very general, feel me out type thing.
Well, I've had heartburn with the school district, with the city, now with the county, I'm sure the college does the same thing. They waive gap. Generally accepted accounting principles. There's a reason for gap, if everybody's listening. Gap is to provide financial statements in a standard format so that you can reasonably do comparisons
Yes.
to budget, to actual, et cetera. And I've presented an article before, I think it was to the school district, that said if you conform with GAAP, you have the less likely to have fraud.
Yeah, yeah.
So to waive GAAP just makes their job easier.
The thing
It also gives them the ability to get the lowest possible opinion from your auditors as far as a standard. Now, just to give you an example of, in my corporate world, we had, I think at the end we had Pricewaterhouse, but, you know, we paid them hundreds of thousands of dollars to do an audit, and because we were a publicly traded company, those figures all had to be certified. So not only did they take our figures that what the current firm does just to make sure they add up, they also take a look at the inputs that make up those figures. So it's a 3 or 4 month process. And it's, sure it's more expensive, but, you know, look at Enron.
Well,
Look at those kind of.
thing of it is you're talking about government. In the state of Alabama, they come out and they said, you're gonna be required to use this software to report, school board report their spending and stuff. Well, our local school board in Anniston, took and hired a guy to implement the software and paid him $80,000 a year, and they did that for about 3 years. And finally, the mayor found a way to fire the whole school board. I don't know how he did it, and he got a point. Well, the first thing they did is he contacted one of the school board members, contacted another school system and said, what was the deal? Why? And for 3 years, they never had really reports coming to school. And He said, oh, the state has an actual team that will come down and install the software, and we were up and running in a week. Come to find out, that software guy that they had implemented, he had wrote the program for the state, and they had rejected his, but yet that school board was buddies, so they hired him still at $80,000 a year, and he never did nothing. You know, but there's a reason, it's like standard operating procedures.
Standard operating procedures.
SOPs.
That's what GAP is.
Well, that's, I'm equating that. I would have a new officer come in, and because they got the computers, and they were smart, and they was college educated, they wanted to rewrite the book, and I said, I would hold this up, and I'd say, sir, you don't do that, here it is, it's written for you. SOP.
And they use the excuse that they did in their resolution that the reason why we have to waive GAP is because it's on a cash basis. Well, I have a book in my car right now that says governmental accounting with GAP. So it has nothing to do with how they receive money. It's just how they report it. So there's GAP for public companies, there's GAP for everybody, and GAP for municipalities, GAP for school districts, GAP for rural water districts, everything.
I had a budget, and I had to live with that budget, and I went up to the colonel, and I was getting approval for some stuff through him, and it's over a certain amount. He told me, he said, Sergeant Walker, you're the only one that spends your budget to the last penny.
Yeah.
Because I took and kept track of that, you know, I mean.
Well, you were in the military too, right?
Oh, yeah.
If you didn't spend it, you didn't get it the next year.
That's true. But also, and it's no different here in the county, and you've seen this happen with the Sparks money. They just threw it at Will Wallace, and Will Wallace, down there at the end of the budget year, they have these kits for training, and some of them are live kits too. And the bottom line is they didn't know what to spend it on, and I had a warehouse in the back side that was full from the bottom up with these kids, because they had to spend that money for something. It wasn't a planned spending budget, you know, and our county's that way. It's not planned, but we have an emergency, you know. And consequently, I agree 100% with what this commissioner said over here, that I've been back here since 2000, and our roads in the county have went down and down and down, and there's no excuse. And we're not talking a little down, we're talking a lot down. And that's unfortunate.
Well, the budget director will get it taken care of.
Yeah, right. What I have found, the more overhead people that,
Put that in the paper.
the more overhead people that you have hired above you, the less money you have to actually go down here. And you have to have, they've already did the equation even in the military, they are overburdened with officers, and the ratio needs to go down, officer versus enlisted, I mean, you know.
Well, federal government is a totally different entity from anything else.
But and you can go to government, you will find that it gets voted up the top, and you don't have the Indians kneel on the ground.
Particularly when you don't have a plan. The Peter principle, you elevate yourself to the point of inefficiency or ineffectiveness. Peter says,
Well, the thing of it is people
you're
don't,
not qualified for your job.
they don't have a mechanism for feedback on how well you do a job or something. And I know, like my guys, they had a 98% rating of first-time success pass on a test. Well, that's pretty darn good if you can maintain that, you know, and we did. And people were asking me how I was successful. That's because we looked at ourselves after every exam. And if you had a question that over 50% of them didn't get, you may need to take and go back and look at your instruction to see how you missed that. You know, to keep yourself fresh. And there's other missions too, such as they have a Waiver agent, urban training facility, and I had the response team for that as an additional duty, and we had 50 people that I could draw from because those people went on vacation, this and that and the other. I had to wear people for a whole year. They couldn't go anywhere. That's tough duty. And then we did have, it's like what Wallace does, an emergency here, but we were mandated every quarter, every so often to, and they would just call and say, want that response team. You rolled out, you got evaluated, you went on down the road.
So I guess the stats up there say the bidding session or bidding online, 2 hours and 10 minutes. There's been 37 playbacks with an average watch time of 32 minutes. So much more, so much less, but
Well, and probably about the time they go into an executive session, they click off. I would do that with the city ones. And see, I like the way the city does it. They put up this little poster thing and all the sound goes off. But they, I guess they stay in their room, right? And the city
sometimes,
commission? Oh, okay,
sometimes
not
it
always.
depends, not always.
Okay.
Did you guys read about our move, that we're moving?
Oh, I seen that. You went over Renee's. That's
Renee Studio, I was just asking.
How soon are you guys
I'm
gotta?
just checking because there are people that still not sure, they're still not sure where we're at.
Oh,
You know,
in
so
the first place.
We moved a couple of times in
Yeah. And that's
recent
always
years and
pain in the water when
there's
you gotta
people out,
leave.
there's people out there that still think we're in Nevada.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we've had phone calls that they're shocked we have an office in Fort Scott.
They,
Aren't you based in Nevada?
Okay.
The company that owns us is
Yeah.
based in Missouri. And our sister paper is in Nevada. We're not.
Was it just vetting the race or let's,
Well,
Yeah, what's motivating the move?
John and Cindy Bartlesmeyer are going to make use of that building. They own the building.
yeah,
They're going to move their business,
right.
jewelry store,
That's what they meant.
downstairs.
okay,
They've been living upstairs, you know, for
Yeah.
probably about a year.
What's gonna happen to their building? They're a nice, cute little building.
It'll be for sale. That's what I think.
I'm
I
sure.
believe that's what John said.
Yeah, they would need to.
They'll just sell it.
okay.
Interesting.
But by the end of the month, by the end of this month is our target. February 1st is our.
So they probably aren't gonna move in here until late summer then, probably.
Yeah.
I know I hate it.
Yeah, he's got a lot of heavy stuff to move to.
We don't have, thankfully we don't have far to go. We were trying to find something
Yeah.
in the downtown. We want to stay downtown. In that historic district and
when did
hopefully
you
we
hear
found
this?
something close to the couple that just bought that building, so.
Where did you hear this, Ann? What you said, that's what they meant?
Well, I don't know, it was Jody or who it was talking about all the things that are happening. Maybe it was Jody. No, I don't know. About the economic development, just things happening. Seemed to just kind of be some momentum. You know, she mentioned the Roaches and Jared Witt, you know, get in and what she had done, and Barbara Myers and them. You know, I wasn't sure what she meant by that.
And there's this trend of moving downtown.
Yeah, well, I
With
noticed
the Wits down there, the Bartlesmeyers.
Yeah.
The couple that
Well,
own
there
our
are
new
those,
building live
yeah.
upstairs, all the apartments.
Yes, they understand. We gotta keep our little town going. There's gotta
Well,
be
you also
downtown.
understand
There's gotta be
that
downtown.
if you're in that district, you don't pay any property tax.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that might be incentive.
oh, you think?
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, we also know, like, 30 years ago, those buildings, I mean, we can still talk about how bad some of them are, but there were way more bad buildings 30 years ago than there are now. So, that's the incentive to get people down there to hopefully do do some justice to those buildings then, to the ones that need it.
The block we're in now is a pretty good building, but we walked downtown yesterday and walked by the union lofts, and they look nice. Couldn't be far work, you know. There's so much progress.
Let's see, I move that the county commissioner come out of executive session at 11:36. And there is action.
Second?
Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I entertain a motion.
I'm not sure how to say it correctly.
Well, I will put it on this, obviously, this engagement letter will be public record if it's approved by the commissioners. I've really enjoyed the last 3 years. You know, I'll never forget October 1 of 2018 when Joni Hayner came on and our world's changed. And it's been traumatic since. I mean, there's been a lot of pressure. No one envisioned COVID. No one envisioned that we'd have the issues that we've had. The wind farm obviously learned a lot about how things work in the wind industry. And I never thought in a million years I'd ever have to learn those things. And then I learned a lot about just EMS, you know, and working together with people to try to figure out a tragic thing to make it into something that is positive. And I think there's been a lot of positive things over the last couple of years. I mean, there's been tension, there's been heated discussions, there's been anger, there's been yelling. But all in all, we've always kept the best interests of Bourbon County and the citizens of Bourbon County at heart. And I agree with Mr. Beth. I really want to live here my entire life. My child's here. I want to have his children live here. I mean, I think I'm a sixth generation Bourbon Countyan, so I want to keep that going. And that's why I do what I do. Obviously, my role is going to revert back to what I've always wanted to do, and that's be the county councilor. Over the last 3 years, I've taken on some additional roles that have been outside of that function. I will represent the county as their county councilor, and I will most likely and work really hard not to take on any administrative functions that I've had to because of necessity over the last couple of years. So what I'm asking for is a basic work service agreement of 20 hours per week, which is a reduction of time. I'm asking for $75 an hour as part of that time per function. And if I go over the 20 hours a week, it'd be an additional $100 a time for billable time. I'll represent the entire county. You know, I will do that function to where I don't get myself in conflicts. I'll work my best to give legal counsel and give direction to the commissioners. I won't need to go into executive sessions nearly as much as I have in the past. You know, I'll be told and instructed what to do by the commissioners or by Kendall or by a department head or elected official, and I will do that function. If they tell me to write something, I'll write it, but I won't have that quasi relationship that I've had with the different departments and the different elected officials that I've had in the past. So to me, it's a really important distinction. I don't want to be interviewed by law enforcement, and I don't want to be a witness in litigation. So I'm going to distance myself from those types of scenarios. And I have numerous ones that I can bring up over the last 3 years that I need to step back from and just be the county councilor. So, and spend my time researching case law and working on making the legal part of this more fluid and more transparent. So I've enjoyed the functions. I averaged around 31.7 hours over my 3-year period. I'm not even going to count 2020 because of what happened with everything. So it's been a great 3 years, but I'm just going to ask to be the county councilor, and that will be my job function. And it's descriptive, you know, contracts. I put it in the engagement letter, the types of things that I'll be doing. Because my goal is actually at some point to step even further back, you know, and go 15 hours a week. And if that's possible, even this year, I'll come back. There's provisions in the engagement letter that allow me to come back in and say, hey, look, I'm not doing the 20, I'm only doing 15, you know, and so here's a step back even further and letting you know what my job function's been. So maybe 6, 7 months from now, we can review this. And this is only for, you guys can terminate me at any time. It is a year agreement, but there's procedures in here to basically disengage my services with a 30-day notice. And the reason I had a contract the prior time was that I was giving up an elected position to be county councilor.
So I'd entertain a motion to
I would
sign a
make
contract.
make a motion to,
Well, it's an engagement letter. It's not a
Engagement
contract.
to enter into the engagement letter with Counselor Meeks
Have me sign it.
and have Chairman O'Hara, give Chairman O'Hara the ability to sign that engagement letter.
Here a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. One more. Do I know what this last one's about?
What's that? Yeah, I think I added it. Do we even need it now?
What's that?
Do we need the last one?
Not that I'm aware of.
So can we,
Justin,
Can-
we don't need that last.
we don't need
executive
necessarily the last executive session this week?
Okay, so you don't need that executive
I
session?
don't think so.
Amend that and take it away?
You can amend, what you need to do is amend the agenda and terminate
To
that
remove it?
executive session.
So I would make a motion that we amend the agenda and terminate the last executive session at this point.
Here a second.
I second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think starting next week, you really want to have that commissioner comment moment and then the public
Well, yeah,
comment
we'll put
moment.
that
You
on
might-
there. We
Does
can-
anybody want to have any
So-
public comments? We can
Can
make them in.
We can, I mean, I'll amend it right now if you all want to speak.
We'll make sure it's on there next week for any
We'll
public
put it on
comments
there
at the
next
end.
week.
I
Kendall,
just have a comment.
Yeah, you go ahead.
So I'd like to amend the agenda to add a session for public comments.
It's up to 10 minutes,
Up to
3
10
minutes each.
Up to 10 minutes,
Oh, I don't want to take that long.
Well, I know, but just,
with 3 minutes, 3 minutes each.
here a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Yeah, just looking over this business director and finance director shared services, it was already brought up to have a little more exacting job description, but I think the public is going to be really surprised when they see those numbers. So make sure, as far as her salary, proposed salary and that, so just make sure you have good justification and reasonings and be able to explain that clearly to the public. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Ann.
For the benefit of Mr. Harris, did you get the binder that I left with Fisher on the advisory board
No.
possibilities? So I'll get you another copy. And I'll just give you fair warning that sometime in the near future, I'd like to have a discussion on that.
And I don't see it over there, so it's probably gone.
Okay.
And that, to be in all fairness for Mr. Harris,
Sure.
basically, I think that's a good thing that we'll discuss in the future.
I do
Okay.
too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's my comment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So he can be caught up to speed.
Yeah, I'll get him.
Well, I mean, I know, but,
Sure.
so we can.
You all discuss it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it'd be worth a conversation between you two.
Okay.
Maybe.
Sure. I'll be happy to.
Anyone else? I would probably entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second that.
I make a motion to adjourn,
thought you made a motion.
sorry.
Huh?
I thought you
Never-
made a
huh?
motion, Lynn.
For the kids, okay, make a motion for that?
Hang on, what is it? Gonna have to make a.
Okay, I make a
amend the
motion.
Agenda?
Oh, I would like to amend the agenda because this is to add a little bit of a discussion and probably some action on the canvas date.
On what?
The canvas date and time? Election canvas date and time?
Okay.
It's pretty important. So I would, oh,
Go ahead.
no, we got to second the amendment, I guess.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, I would make a motion that we all can attend Thursday on January 14th of this year at 10 a.m. for canvassing.
Here a second.
I have a doctor appointment at 9, but I should be here. Second.
And you can,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you can proxy somebody in, that's correct, right?
Yeah.
It's on what
Yeah.
time?
It is 10 o'clock on Thursday.
Kendall, is that for a certification or is that actually a canvas?
That's this Thursday?
Canvas, okay, just making sure.
Is that this Thursday?
Okay.
I'm gonna say 10 minutes tops.
Okay.
Calendar,
That many voters, 400 people, yeah.
Thursday. What do I got going on Thursday? Canvas Day, right?
Canvas day.
So, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Now I would make a motion that we adjourn the commission meeting
Here a
at
second.
this time.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Got it.
I think Ashley wanted me to sign something like that. Yeah, she wanted me to sign something. Do you see David before I do? This chair.
Put it on your card.
I get another one in the building somewhere, or it really hurts.
We'll see if I can get you there.
Thank you. Do you have something you want me to sign?
Not right now.
Not right now.
I'm working on payroll and payables, so if someone has to come in and sign, then once I'm gonna be here tomorrow, are you gonna be around the end of the week? Can I call you to come sign accounts payable when it's ready?
If you don't give me a little notice, I'll have my muddy boots and stuff on, but
I don't care. I can even bring it out.
I'll be doing some chores, so, okay.
You have this.
Yeah, I have Jim's cell phone number. He texts me once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Every once in a while, I stir.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
It says the bottom one. Stop recording. Stop, and stop, both of them are